what was the catalyst for this latest reunion for the Del Fuegos?
It was a phone call. It was just a phone call from Bob asking my brother if we would be interested. And, we were going to do it last year, and then a whole lot of things on the, behind the scenes fell apart, having nothing to do with the band. But, all the usual showbiz shenanigans, not usual, but, the showbiz shenanigans sort of kicked in, and we didn't end up doing the show. But we really were excited to do it. And so when Bob called about this one, we said, yeah, let's, it wasn't on our schedule, but it seemed like the right thing to do. And so that was it. It was just that simple. Just, he just took the time and asked, and that was all it took. So thanks, Bob Anderson.
Isn't that the best reason for getting back together, just for the heck of it, just to play?
Oh, it really is. It really is. And that was the reason that we started in the beginning. We loved each other's company. It was an adventure. We're deeply, deeply committed to music, all of us. And so it was, the idea to get in the Wayback Machine and be 2021 again. It's kind of irresistible.
Do you think it is easier or harder now for bands to get going and get their music out there? I mean, technology has come a long way where you don't really need a studio anymore, and you have social media, at your disposal where you can get the word out there and stuff. But do you think that makes it easier or harder?
Wow. Things have changed so much. I can't even imagine trying to do it now. Although, my wife Claudia and I make music, and we record and we tour as Dan and Claudia Zanes, doing more of the all ages and music for young people. So we know the landscape in that way. But to be a rock and roll band right now, I don't really know. I mean, we were back in the time of making, cutting out pieces of paper and making flyers and going to the copy shop and printing them up and, taping them to street lamps and, all that kind of stuff. So it felt like in a way it was a more hands-on kind of time. We would go to, if we wanted to make a demo tape, we would go to an 8-track studio and make a tape with, Rob Dimmitt or one of those guys that was doing such great work, or Dave Minahan had his studio back then doing things. And so it was, I mean, I can't even imagine, but I think underneath it all, the idea is probably exactly the same, which is it's a social experience that we're all having. And we take the time, we write our songs, and then we find where we can go and play them for people. And so, at the end of it all, we're in a room together and we're having a musical experience, and it's deeply social and on many levels, probably spiritual for people.
I agree. Definitely spiritual. I mean, I've seen so many shows, and there have been many, including one, you guys at the Paradise. It was the Burning in the Fields tour. You guys played the Paradise in Boston, and maybe one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was just incredible. Wow. It was a vibe, like there's a vibe that goes around the room at a very special gig where the band and the audience, I think, become one. It's like everybody all of a sudden is on the same page, and that feeling is so good. And that was definitely one of those nights, for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I've really come in touch with, as I've gained more life experience, which is just the idea that energy is a real thing, and we, every day that we wake up, we have the opportunity to create energy and to transmit energy to the people around us. So if you're a group of people that love playing music together, the chances of creating that kind of energy, and then the conditions are right in a venue and the people, it can really go to some wild places.
Yes. I mean, you guys, at one point, you guys were playing like 6 days a week at various places around New England. What were some of and then nationally, of course, but what were some of the crazier gigs back in those days that you can remember?
I think playing at the Rat for us was always a really an incredible experience because that's where our community was really based out of. James Ryan and the Hoodoo Barbecue, Mitch working the door, Lily Dennison was there, Wayne Valdez was there. You know, we would just go there after work and eat dinner and hang out at the Rat, see our friends, and then, you know, it would either be our friends playing downstairs or it would be a band that was traveling and passing through Boston that we wanted to see or wanted to check out, or maybe we already had opened for them somewhere, you know, so it felt like such a community. So when I think back to it, I think of that. And then it's hard to underestimate what a profound jump it was going from the Rat to being on tour with ZZ Top or INXS or Tom Petty. You know, those kinds of experiences for us were mind-boggling. You know, I mean, we never when we opened for INXS that summer. Listen Like Thieves had just come out, and you know, talk about energy. They were exploding in front of our very eyes, and you know, just seeing these crowds night after night going bananas for this group, and you know, they were incredible performers. So it was the right time, right place, and we had front row seats, so to speak, and we were well received too. You know, the band had handpicked us, so you know, they knew our crowd would dig us, but. You know, I mean, stuff like that was the dream, you know, that's what everybody I knew wanted to be doing. And for some reason, we were able to do that. You know, I mean, we weren't the most talented group around, but, you know, we were as dedicated as anybody, that's for sure. But, you know, what a blessing.
Well, you guys had really good songs. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's about, you know, writing really great songs, and you had a whole bunch of those. And can you remember like the first song you tried to, or you wrote that you actually, you know, brought to other musicians, whether it's the Del Fuegos or other people? Can you remember what that first song was?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. You know, the one thing that I will say is that when we got out to LA to make our first record for Slash Records, you know, we did record a record with the Ace of Hearts with Rick Hart, you know, who was such a mentor to us, and we ended up going out to Slash and never put that record out. But you know, Rick really took the songs and helped us shape them and try and understand what it was that made us special, because we had no understanding. We were just doing our thing, you know. And then when we got to LA, Mitchell Froome took things to another level as far as arranging the songs for us, you know, helping us to arrange the songs, because we never thought about arrangements. So we were seeing these songs that we had been playing for a couple of years that we knew so well being torn apart and put back together again. And that, you know, that gave us a kind of an indication of possibilities. You know, you can write something, but then there's several more layers and levels that this thing can go to if you're really thinking about it as, in a way, building a cabinet. You know, what kind of cabinet are we going to build here? So there's a craft behind it, behind the emotion of it all. But I think "Night on the Town," to answer your question, "Night on the Town" is the song that, for me, you know, I loved playing for other people because it captured the experiences we were having in Boston on those nights.
With this latest reunion at the East Bridgewater Commercial Club, with the last reunion, there was some new music with that. You guys put out an EP. Any plans for new music this time around?
I think this time around, it's just we're in the greatest hits zone. So we're going back to mostly those first two records, and it's going to be familiar from beginning to end. Although we'll probably, you know, we'll do a little bit from the third album, and we'll certainly have some cover songs that we're excited to play.
Are you still making new music with Claudia and making music for families?
Absolutely, yeah. We're getting ready to make another record for Smithsonian Folkways. We're doing a lot of traveling, a lot of touring, and I think I feel like this is, the most exciting musical chapter of my life. The Del Fuegos were a springboard, and I've been so blessed that I continue to, get wildly excited by music making, and to be able to sing and play with Claudia is, to me, just a dream come true. The day I met her, I knew she was the person I'd been looking for my whole life. And so to be in love and to be able to make music, that's a wild experience, man.
Yeah, that's hitting the lottery right there. I spent a lot of hours with my daughter when she was very young listening to that Nighttime album. I mean, we'd go to bed and I'd lay in bed with her and we'd listen to that and, sing along a little bit until we both got sleepy. And some really, really great memories with my daughter with your music. Now she just graduated high school, and it's just like, wow, where does the time go? Now, do you have kids, right?
I have a daughter who's 28.
Yeah.
Anna.
Wow.
And here's the crazy thing is that she just started a new job. She's a pretty high level editor at the Alt Press.
Wow.
So which has been around for, I guess 40 years or something. So she loves to write about music, and she loves being around culture in that way. So I guess I didn't turn her off of it too much. And she loves the Del Fuegos. So how cool is that?
Yeah. My daughter couldn't give a rat's ass about me being on the radio. So, I mean, that's great that she's into what you're into. When she was younger, the kids' music, when she was younger, was she ever like, okay, Dad, enough. I know you can sing music. Was she into it, or did she just not care?
You know what? She was into it.
Nice.
And the reason she was into it was because, again, this has been the case for me all along. I've told you how much I love Warren and Tom and Woody, the Del Fuegos, and our dear brother Cleve Davis, who passed away last year. Have to mention him. So it's the music that we make. When you make the music with people that you love, and people that are coming from such a good place, the music takes on a special kind of. There's a special atmosphere around it, and the people that I made the Dan Zanes and Friends band for the family music was so. These are people that were like aunts and uncles for my daughter, and so. And, if someone like John Doe from X came over to record, or Angelique Kidjo, or, when
Lou Reed, man, you got Lou Reed. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. The Five Blind Boys of Alabama. So these were the people that were coming by the house to record. And so she was around for so much of that. So it was, I think she kind of dug it. I kept her out of school when the Five Blind Boys came over.
Nice.
I said, this is never going to happen again in your life, so you can't miss this.
That's a parenting win right there. That is,
yeah,
that's good parenting in my opinion. Well, Dan, it's been a real pleasure talking with you, and looking forward to this gig. July 15th, East Bridgewater Commercial Club in beautiful East Bridgewater. It's amazing how all the members of the band have come along with your very successful, family music career and the Grammys and stuff like that. And then your brother Warren becoming an author, and Woody forming Right Turn, which is such a great thing that helps out a lot of people. And Tom is a doctor. I don't know if like you guys were, when you were drinking with the Dogmatics back in the day, if you ever envisioned this path taking you to these places. It's
such a incredible thing to see how everybody has thrived and prospered and brought so much good to the world. I'm just so proud of these guys, and I'm so inspired by them all. It's incredible. It's incredible to see. And so, to get to be with everybody again and hang out and play these songs, and we love our fans. So to be able to be there and just, kind of hang with our fans again, it's going to be a beautiful experience.
Nice. Well, Dan, appreciate you calling in, and we'll see you at the gig on July 15th.
Be sure to say hi, Mike. It'll be nice to talk face to face.